DMV Hoop Session presents the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League, showcasing the best high school basketball in the DMV. DMV Hoop Session presents the DeMatha Stags versus the Bullis Bulldogs, Capital Hoop Summer League Championship game.
And from the gym here at DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland, it is the championship game of the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League, presented here on SASN TV, your home for everything Capital Hoop Summer League. Noah Schubert alongside Isaac Harris and Branson Brooks bringing you our championship game. It's DeMatha, it's Bullis, it's two private school powerhouses going at it. We saw both teams take handily won games yesterday. DeMatha taking down John Carroll 87-71 behind a resurgent return from Ace Meeks, 28 points and 5 made threes for him. As for Bullis, they took down Spring Mills 67-36. It was Christopher Richards, 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 made threes, and Xavier Skipworth with 14 points leading the Bulldogs. And Isaac, I'll start with you. That second game, we saw Bullis come through and absolutely dismantle Spring Mills, and everybody was able to contribute, including the freshman Skipworth, along with Richards, who we haven't seen much of, but he really broke out.
No, Bullis showed what they could do without their star player, Eric Reeb. I mean, I was so impressed with how poised they were playing. They were playing very disciplined, very smooth, not playing outside their game. They knew what their game plan was, and they stuck to it. They weren't rattled. They stayed their rhythm. They stayed the course.
And as you mentioned, Eric Riba is out for this game for Bullis, along with Adrian Stevens. So in really their top two players are not going to be in this game, but Angelo Dickerson had 17 points and also hit 4 threes in the win. So they have a nice core to back them up. And now, Branson, I'll turn it to you about this DeMatha team, undefeated with a 1 seed coming in at 10-0. And it's really been their depth that is showcased and their next man up mentality. Everybody can play quality minutes for this DeMatha Stags team.
Yes, and as you mentioned before, Ashton Meeks was able to come back for his team and really add to the depth of this DeMatha team. DeMatha is the #1 seed hosting this tournament, and they're looking to bring home the championship in this game. I look for them to go on runs in the open court, look to carry, have a fast tempo, and get this dub.
Now DeMatha, the 1 seed, Bullis, the 6 seed, but they're 9-1. Their one loss came to DeMatha earlier on the season. Was a tight game, 52-49. The Stags came out on top. Jamal McKnight Jr. led DeMatha with 16 points, Cade Sebastian with 12, and Cole Bowser at 7 points and 7 boards while hitting 2 threes. And as for Bullis in that game, I mean, it was Eric Riba, 17 points and 7 rebounds, but he's not here. Adrian Stevens, 8 points and 6 boards himself, also not here. Angelo Dickerson, 13 points, 6 rebounds, was the main driving force for Bullis players who are going to be on the floor this evening as both teams are readying up on the court. For DeMatha, it'll be Wallace Meeks, Thomas Bowser, and Sebastian Nobo Daniels. He is not going to be here for today's game. And Isaac, I mean, we thought that would give DeMatha an advantage if Daniels is going to be here without Riva for Bullis, but now it's really going to be those guards and those stretch 3s and 4s that decide this game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Those stretch 3 and 4s are going to decide the game because now the front court looks, on paper at least, pretty even. But I don't like to trust the paper. You know what I'm saying, guys? Don't trust the paper. It's all about what happens when you draw the paper and write it out. So we're going to have to really see how this backcourt is going to try to help this front court, getting in the right entry passes. And we're going to see what type of defense DeMatha brings to throw at Bullis to see what they prepare, because I feel like it's going to be a different game plan than what we saw last night.
And on the floor for Bullis, Darren Moore, Angelo Dickerson, Xavier Skipworth, Michael Heeman, and Christopher Richards. It's Bullis, it's DeMatha, it's our Capital Hoop Summer League Championship game here in 2024. DeMatha making their 4th straight appearance in our championship game, and they are looking to win 3 out of 4. And before we start things off, they're going to make DeMatha switch to their reds because Bullis in their dark blue uniform. So already a little bit of a change of pace. And usually DeMatha's in those royal blues, but it should be of no trouble. It's Thomas and Richards in the middle, and tip is won and fielded by Jacob Wallace. Wallace up the floor quickly, and the two-handed slam from Charles Thomas will get things going in a jiffy.
So a fast pace early for DeMatha. Good entry pass by Ace Meeks.
Heyman forced out of the corner, finds Dickerson driving to the left. Dickerson loses it in translation. Heyman cross court, finds Skipworth. Skipworth turns it back, and there's that DeMatha defense. And they come up with it. Sebastian flips it over to Wallace, who will slow things down and let the offense catch up. And Thomas wasn't ready for that one, so an immediate turnover from the Stags. Skipworth now on the other side, and Bullis can settle down and reset offensively. Dickerson gets it to Richards. Three-pointer on the way from Moore. Count it!
Yes.
Darren Moore.
Yes, Darren Moore coming into the game, averaging 9.5 points per game. He's going to have to have a big game with their 2 stars out.
Moore only 4 points and 2 rebounds in Bullis' win as they miss inside. Tippin is also no good. It's a 3-2 Bullis lead. A minute and 10 into this game. Deep three-pointer from Dickerson, and the foul! Angelo Dickerson showing off his range, and a big shot to make it a 4-point play.
Now, that's going to be killer. If Bullis is not a streaky team, but they shoot very good shots. They don't take bad shots. So DeMatha needs to be very careful about what they need to go try to block or what they need to defend based off the reaching and everything. So I hope they're more careful with that next possessions.
Yeah.
As Dickerson hits the free throw, it's a 4-point play and puts Bullis up by 5. 7-2 early on, 14:41 on the clock. Bowser thought about flipping it to Wallace, calls his own number, puts it in with the right, off glass, no good. And Moore's on the floor along with Dickerson. Heyman's able to catch up, and I think Bowser took a shot. He's still down, and referee calls time.
I think he hit his head.
That's what it's looking like here.
Head-eye area right there.
And trainers and staff will come out to evaluate Bowser. Had 11 points and 2 rebounds in DeMatha's win over John Carroll. And you want to hope he's okay. Both teams will get a brief timeout as they evaluate Bowser. It is a 7-2 Bullis lead with 14:28 on the clock. And you never like to see these, especially in the Summer League.
Yeah, especially in the championship game. You know, never like to see this. Never like to see this.
And Bowser will be helped up to his feet. There's a decently populated crowd here at DeMatha Catholic High School, the Morgan and Kathy Wooten Gymnasium. As Bowser's able to walk off. And Danny A. Bass will check in, the 6'6" sophomore forward. So it is Bullis ball. They're up by 5. Darren Moore takes it across the timeline. Moore looking for someone to give it to. And look at this strict man defense Bullis is playing, and they get a steal out of it. Wallace uses his speed in front of everybody and finishes with the right.
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, Wallace, also a football star, showing his speed on that break right there.
Lead cut down to 3 for Bullis. 13:58 to go. 7-4 lead for the Bulldogs. Dickerson can't find any room. Thomas is closing him out all the way past 3-point range. Moore barely gets it out to Heyman. Inside, Skipworth loses it in midair. Sebastian up the floor to Thomas, and he will dunk it again. As Charles Thomas makes this a 1-point game.
DeMatha able to get out on the break early.
And you can see that Bullis, they're crossing half court quickly because they don't want that DeMatha full court press to stop them 90 feet from the basket. Richards takes it on the swing, contests a 3-pointer, is good. Third made 3-pointer for the Bulldogs.
Good decision, quick 3, love to see it.
Moore, Dickerson, and Richards have all hit from 3-point range.
Yes, and 3 players who are going to have to step up.
Wallace feeling the heat from Skipworth. Gives it off to Ace Meeks. Swing pass. It's down low. Abass gets around Heyman and puts it in.
That paint will be open with Eric Reeb out with this game.
10-8 Bullis in the lead. 12:45 to play in the first. Dickerson sizing up a Bass. Step back. 3-pointer. Off the heel. Rebound to Meeks. Meeks takes it the other way. Puts it behind his back. Meeks to the corner. Thomas thought about a 3. Instead, he's going to pass it off, or try to at least. Finally finds an open Cade Sebastian. And Sebastian taking his time at the logo. Sebastian. Heeman's on him. Broken up by Skipworth. 7 seconds to shoot. Back to Sebastian. Pump fakes with 5. Floater. No. Board is grabbed by Heeman. Michael Heeman had 9 rebounds in Bullis' win over Spring Mills. Only contributed 2 points, but also tacked on 7 assists. Skipworth, hard drive inside, off glass, no. Sebastian, also a great rebounder, skying in for that one. Over to Meeks, who can't field it cleanly. Meeks, deep three-pointer. Board tipped out to Sebastian. He'll try his luck at a 3, and that one is cashed in. DeMatha takes the lead 11-10.
I love the back and forth shooting. Cade Sebastian just ready, paced, and shot his shot. He shot the shot that he usually shoots.
Yeah, Sebastian, one of the three-point sharpshooters in our league, showing what he does on a nightly basis.
In the corner, Heeman dumps it off, and that one is blocked. Close up by Thomas, but Sebastian can't get the tip off cleanly. Moore will try a 3 off the front of the rim, bounces out. Meeks with the rebound. Meeks swings it to the corner. Sebastian fakes. Chased around by Moore, somehow gets baseline, kicks it out. 3-pointer on the way for Meeks. That one is off. Abbas over everyone grabbing the rebound. He'll put it up. He's fouled from behind by Moore.
Yes, and DeMatha is really getting on these offensive rebounds. You can see the impact of Eric Reed being shown. Bullis has to do a better job of boxing out and getting on these boards.
And head coach Bruce Kelly wants a timeout for Bullis. They trail 11-10 with 10:52 to play in the first half. And Bullis, I mean, they've been raining down threes. They've hit 3 of them already between Moore, Dickerson, and Richards. But DeMatha is in the lead. 4 points from Charles Thomas, 2 from Abbas, and 2 from Wallace, and the lone 3 from Cade Sebastian.
Smart decision by calling timeout now. You guys got to feel for each other what the plan is. Coach Kelly's probably talking these guys over. It's like, okay, they're shooting not as great as yesterday. We're shooting a little bit better, but they're getting more stuff inside the field goal range right now. So what are we going to do to contain that? And then I'm assuming that's going to lead to another timeout to try to stay, because foul count looking even. This was a timeout saying, all right, now we know what they're giving us. Now let's give them our new plan.
Yes, and they're probably talking about a way to get good shots on the offensive end. They're getting their shots on the three-point line. As said before, they're shooting better, but they need to do a better job of getting open shots so they can be more efficient on the offensive end.
As Danny Abbas hits the first free throw. 54.5% shooter from the charity stripe in the regular season. And he goes 2 for 2 there. 4 points for him, tied for the team lead, and now DeMatha in that full court press, trying to double in the corner, and able to get it off to Skipworth. He gets his pockets picked. Wallace will go the other way, over top and around Moore. Fantastic ball control from Jacob Wallace.
Yes, and as you can see, that full court press changes the shift of the game as soon as it's put on. So
as Dickerson heaves it up, Richards is there to receive, stops short, off glass, fouled. Christopher Richards will head to the line for 2.
Yes, that full court press changed the tempo of the game as soon as it was put on. So let's see how Bullis reacts to it after.
Richards, as I mentioned, 19 points, 7 rebounds, and went 4 of 5 from 3 in the win over Spring Mills, and the first free throw rims out.
He's a little quiet today, though, Noah. Yesterday, he set the tone pretty early in the first half, but I'm assuming it's more like the game plan, like with Coach Kelly saying, I'm assuming this is what they're saying. They're going to feel out DeMatha first, see what they're going to give him first. So,
and he hits the second. Richards has 4. Cuts the DeMatha lead down to 4, 15-11 with 10:25 to go. Other way, Jamal McKnight Jr. has checked in the game for DeMatha. Seeing a lot less of a substitution pattern as Thomas flushes it again with 2 hands. All of his points have been dunks. He's showing off the vert.
A college coach's dream.
As Wallace picks Heeman off from behind but can't get the swing pass to Danny Abbas. And usually we see DeMatha, they like to cycle through players, but I think that the Bowser getting hurt, it kind of shifted the game plan for the Stags, and so they've only played 6 guys so far. Might have only been 5 if Bowser hadn't been hurt.
Yeah, it's a little strange to see that, but I think these guys are conditioned enough to go through that whole 30-minute
Sebastian
pass.
gets the steal.
Yes, and with their roster already running a little short because of Daniels, you see they probably try to keep it a little tight in the championship game.
Wallace to Thomas. Back to Jamal McKnight. McKnight was the hero in the quarterfinals against the Tenley Tigers as Thomas tries a longer shot this time, and the board goes down to Richards. 17-11 Stags lead, 9.5 to go in this first half of the Capital Hoop Summer League Championship game. Richards regains control. Moore going left to the corner. Heeman got it back, jumping for joy, and Heeman with a nice jelly at the rim. Smooth finish from Michael Heeman.
Great take for Heeman. He's averaging 10.6 points per game and 4 rebounds. Great smooth jelly to the rim.
It's again now a 4-point lead for the Stags, and McKnight in no hurry to get the offense going. And Dickerson doing a great job on McKnight. Down low, tipped away, and Richards, he also just took a shot up top. And looks like that Moore giving his teammate a pat on the back. I think he might have took a shot to the eye. It's never comfortable.
At all.
Getting poked in the eye is like the worst possible thing to happen in a basketball game or playing any sport. It ruins your momentum. You start thinking like, man, did my eyeball come out? It's a mess.
Boy, those thing that lingers too for a long time.
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
So Orrin Ford will check in for him. Ford and James Boise were able to get some minutes in the Bullis' win, but it's because they were up by so much as Moore forces the issue and draws the block. It's Abass who's called for the foul. DeMatha's third as a team, only his first. So puts Darren Moore at the line, the 6-foot senior point guard. Hit 100% of his free throws in the regular season in the 4 games he played. He makes the first. And they're going to switch out their rebounders. Skipworth and Dickerson will spot up at the key. Christian Proctor has checked in for DeMatha. Moore goes 2 for 2. He's got 5. It's now a 2-point Stags lead. Meeks also back in the game, so Stags get a little shorter as Bowser seems to be no worse for wear, and he's all back into his normal role. They've got 3 guards on the floor, McKnight, Meeks, and Wallace. And 2 forwards in Bowser and Proctor as Bowser turns it over. Dickerson gets it up the court to Moore. Moore with the left trying to weave his way through traffic, and he has to catch up to it. Gets poked away from behind.
Let's see if Dickerson can get more involved right here.
Dickerson finds his spot and connects, buries another 3-pointer. Timeout Mike Jones as Bullis takes the lead once more, 18-17 off of Angelo Dickerson's second made 3.
Angelo Dickerson showed that like he's getting whatever shot he wants. He showed that yesterday. He doesn't see a bad shot that he does not like. So for him to create space like that with Bowser with his long arms, I'm going to say 6'8" wingspan, covering that space, and he's like, you know what? I can still take a step back and make it. Smart player, and he's gonna make a very nice college coach very happy that he has that confidence to pull that trigger.
Yes, and coming off 17 points last game and averaging almost 14 in the season, he has to be the player to step up in this game if Bullis wasn't to come home with the crown in the Capital Hoop Summer League. So he has 2 early threes to start the game, and let's see if he can continue to set the first half on a good note.
Dickerson, a private school all-star, played in that all-star game. And his team is up by 1. They've retaken the lead, 18-17 with 7:50 to play in the first half of the Capital Hoop Summer League Championship game here on SASN TV. It's McKnight will put it behind his back, and Moore all over the ball. Inside, fantastic find to Thomas, who puts it up. Court vision on point for Jacob Wallace.
Big time plays. Big time plays. That's all I got to say about that.
8 points for Charles Thomas, 8 of DeMatha's 19, and off-ball foul is going to go against Meeks. I believe, no, it's going to go against Proctor. Seaman will jog over to inbound. McKnight on defense, and they get it back to Moore with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Moore to the corner. Heeman gets run into by McKnight. And it's out of bounds. Stays with the Bulldogs with 15 seconds to shoot. I mean, that was close to almost an out-of-control foul on McKnight as he was gunning for that basketball.
It was still basketball play, though, you think? Yeah. Basketball play.
Moore struggling to find someone to get into. Heaves it up to Heeman in the backcourt. And he has a long ways to go, especially with McKnight all over him. Hands it off to Moore, better ball handler. In the left, and they just lose it in transition as that DeMatha defense tracked Heeman into the backcourt, and they did not fall off of that man-to-man.
No, and I don't think they will for the rest of the game.
Over to Wallace. Wallace swings it over McKnight. Richards, McKnight finds an open and skying in. Nice rebound by Orrin Ford. Quickly up the floor to Richards, who just has his pockets picked by McKnight. No look pass down low, and reverse lay-in is there. 10 points for Charles Thomas here in the first half, taking over this game as the Stags lead by 3, 6:38 to go.
Listen, Thomas is just living on the break right now, just being in the right spots and taking advantage of all his opportunities.
Thomas, almost half of DeMatha's points have come from the senior forward, and Moore tried to pass it over to the ref, and he is frustrated with himself as that's a unforced turnover.
I will say this, having Thomas run that rim run and hit that breaker spot like a previous Thomas that we know in years past is actually kind of satisfying to see, and is a great game plan since you don't have Bo. It's actually working out.
Kate Sebastian in for Jacob Wallace. Now we see a little bit more of that DeMatha rotation. 6:20 to go. Sebastian flips it back over to McKnight. Meeks, three-pointer on the way, and he's been quiet, but who else but Thomas? He gets stuffed by the rim, though.
Kind of just mistimed that layup right there. Didn't know where he was.
Proctor tracks Dickerson down the floor. Dickerson, three from top of the key. Bank is not open. Nice rebound and put back up, and it rattles home for Orrin Ford getting on the board.
Such a force for Orrin to get that rebound and go straight back up. He needs to keep doing that for the rest of the game to give Bullis a better chance.
Maybe he can serve as some combat for Thomas in the paint.
Meeks, there he is. Ace Meeks, his first made basket, and it's a three. Hit 5 of them in the win over John Carroll, and he finally connects from deep there. Puts DeMatha back up by 2 possessions, 24-20. 5:20 to play in the first half. Heeman swings it over Richards. Stop short. Gives it off Skipworth over the top. Pull-up jumper and up and down and in for Richards.
DeMatha kind of running the zone right there. He was able to just find the right spot and pull up.
McKnight, wide open Meeks, and you cannot leave Ace Meeks open, and do not let him get hot from 3 either. Back-to-back makes for the senior guard.
Meeks, like I said yesterday in the broadcast, Noah, and Bryce and Branson, since you didn't hear, Meeks, once he gets started, he is like the captain. He is the motor that keeps this machine running for DeMatha. It's going to be hard to cool him down.
Moore checks in for Dickerson. Looking for room to work. Skipworth, and he loses it. Meeks, other way, stops short, and then flips it up and in. A very, very quick 8 points for Ace Meeks, and now a 7-point lead for DeMatha. Bruce Kelly wants to talk things over as Bullis, they were doing okay. They were able to keep it close. They took the lead up by 1, 21-20, and then since then it's been all Stags.
I think they're still doing okay. It's just they're letting Meeks get to his spots, and right now defensively you got to force them to take their bad shots. That's the only thing. That's the only issue. I don't think they're playing bad. They just had maybe 1 or 2 bad possessions, but He's got to force some bad shots now defensively for DeMatha.
Yes, Thomas is just getting to his spots, rim runs, easy rim runs, and if you don't have anybody to cut that out, they're gonna keep killing you in the paint. And like I said before, Ashton Meeks is getting open shots at the three-point line and getting open on the break, so they have to make it a little bit harder for them on the defensive end if they kind of want to keep this even.
Stags lead by 7, 29-22 with 4:36 to play until halftime. Charles Thomas with 10 points leading the way for DeMatha. Ace Meeks with 8. So those two contributing 18 of DeMatha's 29 total. As Skipworth dribbles off his own shoe and is able to recover. And now you see the double team. DeMatha, they're working quickly and soundly. It goes off of Skipworth and out of bounds. And you really don't want Bullis to crumble like this.
No, you don't. I think they've played way too hard this summer not to be here. I mean, we predicted they would be here, way back in May.
Yes, and their 6 seed definitely is not as explained of what this team has shown during this summer. So they obviously will hopefully come back in this game to keep showing fight.
Nigel Cross is new into the game for the Stags. Meeks, that one short. It was a little bit of an idealistic shot. It'll stay with DeMatha with 20 seconds on the shot clock. And I think he might have taken a shot to the face, making sure he's okay, and I think he is. Waiting for someone to inbound the basketball for DeMatha as McKnight finally saunters over. Gets it up, Thomas. Had a second to shoot a 3, but not necessarily his strength. McKnight at the elbow, turn around, finds a small gap, and Skipworth couldn't get the rebound cleanly, so again, it's DeMatha basketball.
Yes, but on 2 efforts right there, you see Bullis do a good job of forcing DeMatha to take some tough shots, so they just need to do a better job of ending it off with a rebound.
And shot clock at 17, pull-up jumper short. Thomas, the rebound, he gets in front of everybody, and he draws the foul on the putback. That's just fantastic positioning for Charles Thomas.
Very good. Like I said, he's getting that breaker spot. He's understanding his footwork. I mean, I feel like he took a little bit of, maybe he got a sneak peek of our tape and looked at Bo and where his spots are at. So he's trying to mimic that for this team, and you can't, that's such a positive.
Thomas, that 6'6" senior, misses the first free throw. Had 4 straight games of 12 or more points in the regular season, and he hasn't really been heralded by college coaches at all. Hasn't fielded any public offers, but I feel like that going into his senior year, he might have a better shot at it as he misses the second free throw, but somehow comes up with the rebound. Held ball.
Yes, and Bullis is really struggling on the boards right now to kind of get it going the other way.
And it's DeMatha possession. No, it is Bullis possession. There was a little bit of confusion there. Even the referees were confused.
Like, wait a second.
And you can see DeMatha are easing up on the full court press. 3:28 to go. They're still up by 7, 29-22. It's been kind of a stagnant game for a couple minutes now. Moore trying to change that. Bobbing and weaving his way around the double team. Dickerson able to create room with the jab step. Richards sets for the high screen and stops cross for a moment. Dickerson finds a lane, can't finish with the left. McKnight with the rebound. Fast break for the Stags. McKnight puts his shoulder down, puts it up off glass, and rebound to the Bulldogs. If they can get it cleanly, they can, as Moore recollects himself. Moore across half court, gives it to Skipworth. Skipworth, nowhere to go, so he goes up and in, but leaves it on the side of the rim.
Good move, but you got to finish it.
Got to finish it. Both teams are having trouble finishing.
Sebastian, what a crossover, what a finish! Cade Sebastian kept going, showed off the handles, and got the layup to go. He's got 5.
He's grown so much over the course of the years. I love it.
Yeah,
Richards is fouled.
Yeah, Sebastian, known for his three-point shooting, was able to do a little in and out crossover and get to the lane right there. Great move.
maybe we see a future three-point threat, and maybe Kate Sebastian in 15, 20 years turns into the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know. I'm seeing the same shooting percentage, so I'm kind of anticipating that.
So Richards at the line, hits his first free throw. Maybe he'll get into podcasting just to sweeten the pot.
Sweeten the pot, definitely. I hope not. He's going to lead. He might go to a very high academic Patriot League. We don't need him in the podcast. Maybe around the country.
Richards was 1 for 2 in his previous trip and is 2 for 2 in this one. So 3 for 4 in the game. He's got 8. 31-24. Stag still up by 7. 2:15 to go until halftime. Wallace sees a seam with the left, puts it up with the right, bounces out, and a late whistle. It's going to be an offensive foul. Let's see who's going to go against. It's going to be trying to figure out who they called it against.
I think they called it on Richards.
Did they call it on? They called it on Richards. I think Bullis thought it was their ball, but it did go against Richards.
Yeah.
Finally, it updates. That's his second foul. Team's third. DeMatha with 5 team fouls themselves. It's McKnight. Dickerson backing him up with 15 to shoot. McKnight behind his back, unfazed. Pull up from the free throw line, off to the left. Put back from beyond the back is no good for Danny Bass.
Yeah.
So Dickerson will take it down the floor. Backing up, fade away, true.
Great move by Dickerson. Was able to back him down and get to the step back over his left shoulder.
Dickerson with 9. Bullis getting back into this game slowly but surely. 31-26. DeMatha still in the lead. 1:30 to go until halftime. Abass spins. Working on a much smaller opponent, and I want to say that Orrin Ford got a piece of that basketball. Stag's not giving up on it. Dickerson stopped at half court by Sebastian. Finally gets it to Heeman. Down low, Ford. Back out to Heeman. Flips across the court and reading that like a book, like the DB he is. Wallace puts it up on the other side.
Too early to call him prime time yet, the way he was ball hawking, but we're looking at his. It's almost that time of the year anyway.
Well, he's got some Division I football offers. West Virginia, Marshall, USF, among others.
Oh, we definitely need him.
Under a minute to go. 33-26. Stags up by 7. Dickerson can't get baseline. Tries to get it inside. Cannot get it cleanly to Skipworth. Other way, Wallace finishes at the rim. Jacob Wallace with 8 points.
Yeah, so some costly turnovers by Bullis. They were in the half on a great note. Kind of got the lead back up.
Stags lead by 9, 35-26, under 30 seconds to play. Moore trying to put the moves on McKnight. 12 to shoot. Moore driving inside. 1-2. Finish is 3 for Darren Moore. Stags with 15 seconds. They can take their time for the last shot. Crossing half court with 10. Wallace picks up his dribble and picks up the tempo with 5. Wallace with 4 behind the back. Wallace kicks it out. Meeks for 3 to beat the buzzer. Rims in and out. And that'll do it for our first half. DeMatha leads 35-28 going into the half. Charles Thomas leading the Stags with 10 points. Jacob Wallace backing him up with 8. And I want to start with DeMatha before we key in on Bullis. And Thomas was integral at the beginning, grabbing rebounds and working that baseline, finding those openings and finishing with 2 hands.
Thomas literally was playing Bo Daniels' position yesterday, today. He was literally playing exactly like Bo Daniels, just getting to that breaker spot, rim running, and just doing all the dirty work. Now, he had a much bigger start than Bo Daniels yesterday, respectfully, by literally dunking your first 6 points, showing how hard you play. And that was something that I brought up with even Coach Jones and the staff, talking about this DeMatha team collectively, 1 through 5, who's ever in, has the same mentality going in. They're playing their hearts out. They're playing with everything on the line. They're playing with that chip. And that's something that they have been missing. They themselves know that, which is now showing that that chip on their shoulder is taking them over the edge. And playing like that here in the summer, it can only grow later in the winter.
And as for Bullis, 28 points, and it's evenly spread out. 9 from Angelo Dickerson, 8 from Christopher Richards, and 7 from Darren Moore. And they've hit 4 threes as a team. Dickerson has 2 from distance, and Branson, we've seen them get flustered by that DeMatha full court press and also on those double teams on the other side. And DeMatha, they've had eyes up in the air, picking off passes, tipping balls away down low, and also picking pockets. You can see how that ball hawking mentality is really working for the Stags.
Yes, and the ball hawking mentality, they were able to improve their defense late in the half to really kind of get this game more consistency and the even rocking for both teams. They obviously had some costly turnovers at the end of the half, was able to widen the lead at what it is, 7 points. But I look for them to continue to be able to affect the DeMatha on the defensive side and get good shots to end the half. Hopefully Angelo Dickerson can keep getting hot on the offensive end.
Hopefully, to add to that point too, I mean, it's just I think with Bullis on the offensive end, it's just like they got to not try to go against what they were trying to do initially. Like, they weren't speeding up their shots. They always got the shots that they needed. They never looked out of, like, place with the shots they got, other than getting fouled every now and then. And I think the stats are coming with us. Oh, sweet. Awesome. Thank you.
So DeMatha leading in that rebound battle, 15-11, 5 rebounds for Charles Thomas on top of those 10 points. And I want to point out that all 5 of those rebounds are offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
As we saw him cleaning up the glass like he had a bottle of Windex in his hand.
Yeah.
Right, and that reminds me to say to Bullis, if I'm Bullis and I know Coach Kelly looking at this halftime, they got a longer halftime than usual. Hey, we got to box out and win those 50-50 balls on the offensive rebounds. And those offensive rebounds, they're getting out-rebounded offensively. That leads to second chance points. You got to limit that. That's the only reason why that lead is just up. This game would be tied if they limit that.
Yes, in the second half, I look for Bullis to play on and 4 more. I feel like when he got in the game, he was able to make a big impact on the boards. He obviously wasn't able to stop Thomas, but he was able to make it a little bit harder. It was harder for him to get to his start. So I look for him to play him more. And, yeah, it really just comes down to Bullis boxing out on the defensive end and just cleaning up and getting the opportunities that come to them.
Now Bullis committing 13 team turnovers, and DeMatha has scored 14 points off of those 13 turnovers. And so when you look at how this score is playing out, I mean that's a huge swing because Bullis, they're down by 7, and if you could just have those turnovers, which Bullis will probably try to do going into the second half, this is a tied ball game in theory.
Right. Yeah, no, in theory, more statistically speaking, yeah. If they even had only like 5 turnovers, we're looking at a tie ball game, or they're down by 2. Yeah. Like it's goes down to my favorite phrase that Noah probably hates hearing I say. Ball security is job security right now. So if I'm any of these guys, I'm Angelo Dickerson, I'm Richards, I am Skipworth, Moore. These guys that are out here on the backcourt. Take care of these possessions. 13 turnovers against a team that plays hard defense that are trying to press the whole game, and they're in shape to do it with the roster and depth of DeMatha. No, be careful, be conservative. You played conservative yesterday, even though they could have ran out the gym later, which they did. Keep playing that conservative basketball and knowing to get your shots.
Now, Bullis, they're shooting at a high percentage at 56.3%, but they've only put up 16 total shots as a team compared to DeMatha's 33. I mean, when you have DeMatha shooting more than double the shots that Bullis is, one, that's attributed to those turnovers, and 2, you can't score points if you're not putting up shots. Because we see a lot of the time that Bullis, they stop, they get flustered, they throw that extra pass right where DeMatha is going to go and grab it. And you have to think, is Bruce Kelly going to tell his guys no more than 2 or 3 passes? And even if it's contested, you have to get shots up because at least you're getting the ball towards the basket and not leaving it in midair or down low for DeMatha to grab.
Yes, as you said, one of those players who's going to have to be more aggressive and put up those shots is Angelo Dickerson. We see him be the one player who's able to create a shot where it's on a step back, get into the rim or get into the mid-range. So as you said before, he is going to have to be more aggressive. I do see Darren Moore being more aggressive to get his shot. He was in the first half, but he will have to be more consistent creating for others and just getting points on the board. But as you said before, they have to get more shots. And the DeMatha just being in double in the shot attempt, I mean, when you're doing layup drills from these turnovers, that will lead to more shots. So they are going to have to stop these turnovers and just put the ball up on the offensive side.
And to add to Angelo, I'm sorry, Noah, but to add to that point is, Angelo can not only just create his own shot, he can create shots for others. That drive and kick basketball still works. It worked a little bit yesterday when Spring Mill was kind of like pressing up on a little, and then they ran out of gas. But for DeMatha, how long and how lanky they are, and sometimes they fall into a matchup zone, I would start driving and kicking if I was Angelo. If I was Coach Kelly, I would tell him to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Now, one place that DeMatha is winning by the largest margin is those points in the paint. 24 points in the paint compared to Bullis' 4. So DeMatha, 24 out of their 35 points have come down low. Bullis only scoring 4 of their points down low. And we thought that with the absence of Ryba and Daniels is that the heights would even out and that we would see Bullis have the ability to drive inside a little more. They have some length themselves, but DeMatha has completely shut down beneath the basket and allowed Bullis to only score 4 of their 28 points from down low.
DeMatha has made it clear to Bullis based off how their game plan was like, all right, Bo Daniels, no problem. Like, we have Clarence Thomas. We have Bowser. We're ready to go. Our front court is ready to go regardless. So they're literally collapsing in there and just taking all those rebounds and not preventing Bullis to get that in there and attack by clogging that lane. Now, if I'm Bullis, you see that they're clogging the lane a little bit, even with their guards when they switch, when they go back to man. I would just take the gaps and be patient about those passes and make them faster so you can throw them out and try to get them out the lane. That's the whole goal. Try to pull all those guys out the lane.
Well, DeMatha, they lead by 7, 35-28, and we'll go into our team specifics. We'll start with the team ahead, DeMatha, and we'll go over to you, Branson. DeMatha, you're up by 7, and it's obvious, as we talked about, they've been dominating a lot of important parts of the game. How do you keep this going, keep this pattern of efficiency going into the second half?
Really just to keep it consistent and keep this style of play. I just think they need to keep looking for Thomas in the middle of the lane so he can keep kicking out to Ashton Meeks and Jamal McKnight to get open shots. And I just feel like they need to keep get back to their press that rattled Bullis in the first half. When they put that press on, they are one of the most consistent teams at stopping people and getting out on the break. So I feel like they just need to keep doing the things that got them there to take this and maybe get a win in this championship.
And Isaac Bullis, they held a lead for a while in the beginning of the first half before DeMatha came in and snatched it right away, and now they trail by 7. How does Bullis get back into this ball game and really cement their style of play and not let DeMatha run the script of this basketball game?
I got 2 words for you both. Box out. When you box out, you can start dictating back that rhythm. So you got to limit that issue right now. We already saw the rebounding battle. They're not winning it. Try to win the rebounding battle every 2 minutes. So if you get a stop and they get a bucket, you got to get like 2 more stops to replace that. When you win the rebounding battle, you box out offensively and defensively, it could lead to getting back to your rhythm. It reads getting back to the momentum. The confidence is there. The offense will just flow right there. But it all starts out with those 2 words, box out.
Well, last year, DeMatha fell in the championship game to the Tenley Tigers after winning back-to-back. They're looking to get that 3rd trophy in 4 years and retake that top spot as Capital Hoops Summer League champions. They are 16 minutes away from doing so. They lead Bullis 35-28 going into the second half here. The Bulldogs looking to topple the Stags and send DeMatha home packing for the 2nd straight year. As they retake the floor, it's Sebastian, Wallace, Meeks, Bowser, and Thomas for DeMatha. Second half action. 16 minutes between the Stags and another trophy. It's Moore, Skipworth, Dickerson, Heeman, and Richards on the floor for Bullis. DeMatha again donning their red uniforms as the pull-up jumper smooth and home for Charles Thomas. He starts off the second half with a made shot just like he started off that first half.
If he starts making that, there's not going to be a lot you can do. So, great shot by Thomas.
Noah Schubert alongside Isaac Harris and Branson Brooks here on SASN TV for the Capital Hoops Summer League. As Dickerson stops short, swings it out. Heeman down low. Skipworth's shot off the back of the rim. Wallace with the rebound, taking it the other way. Wallace to Meeks. And you could see Moore doing a great job bodying out Thomas, but then he leaves Meeks with a wide open lane as there was no switch.
Interesting enough, that was a great attack by Meeks. Sorry for the little delay there, everybody, but no, that was a very interesting attack, and hopefully he can keep it up.
10 points for Meeks. It's an 11-point lead for the Stags, and it'll continue that way for a little bit as they grab another rebound. Bullis 0 for 2 on their last 2 trips. Wallace taking it strong, and he's fouled by a disgruntled Heeman.
Yeah, so you can see the DeMatha backcourt attacking early, trying to set the tempo of the second half.
So Wallace will be at the line to shoot 2. His first free throws of the evening. 84.6% free throw shooter in the regular season, and he misses that first one. Wallace, a 5'10" senior guard. Ten points, 5 boards, and 3 assists. In the win over John Carroll, he hits the second. 9 points in the game, a 12-point Stags lead.
You see DeMatha in the press to start off the half.
Definitely not taking their foot off the gas. So Richards trapped and he cuts called for the travel in front of his own bench.
Yeah, so that trap early forces a turnover again for Bullis.
Sebastian will inbound it to Wallace, and you can tell that the Stags, they're kind of running away with it. Sebastian continues that trend as he drains his second three-pointer, and Bruce Kelly's going to call a timeout as DeMatha are on an 8-0 run to kick off this second half.
Yes, Kelly had to call a timeout right there because off of one pass, leaving Sebastian open right there, that has to be one of the last things you want to do if you're Bullis.
No, and that's the thing. Like I said, DeMatha is running like a well-oiled machine, and Ace Meeks is his leader. Now, Ace may not have to be the main spark of it, but it's contagious. He kind of spreads that spark around, and everyone kind of gets it, and everyone knows what they're doing from it.
So Sebastian makes his second three-pointer. It's a 15-point advantage for DeMatha, 43-28. As looking around the stands, getting word that Malcolm Thomas is in the building. Looking down on his former school, Villanova.
Yeah.
His first year there, standing in the corner. Of course, his dad, Eton, a multi-year veteran in the NBA, I believe 14-year veteran?
14 years.
14 years in the NBA. And he was a staple of the Summer League for the past 2 years that we've been covering it.
Big staple. And hopefully I know he's been sitting behind the bench, and I know he's been definitely giving a little love and shout out to his younger guys, Bowser and Thomas. I know he's looking like, where's Bo at? But he probably is thinking like everybody else. He's like, okay, he's not here. He's not here. No problem.
So DeMatha up by 15, 14-19 to play in this second half. Moore guarded up by Bowser. Gets it to Richards. Has to stop and flips it back to Dickerson. As you can see, DeMatha, they're just moving absolutely on a string. Everyone knows exactly where they're supposed to be. Everyone knows the assignment, but Dickerson weaves his way through and gets the first basket of the second half for Bullis.
Great move by Dickerson to get to his left hand.
It's Dickerson in double figures with 11, the first Bulldog to do so. Finally cuts the scoreless drought. Meeks for 3, connects.
Ashton Meeks is on run right now.
You cannot let Meeks get hot. That's his third made three-pointer. He's got 13 in the game. Richards, Meeks.
Set up for a that is a basketball play by Meeks. That is a Division I basketball play.
Wow, as Meeks sets his feet and draws the third foul on Christopher Richards.
Yes, yeah.
And DeMatha with the possession and out by 16 with 13:20 to play. Wallace bumps it down low. Thomas stops, turn, and I think he got blocked by Heeman there. But just the positioning from Wallace, eyes up basketball, and Meeks was celebrating down the floor as Sebastian put up a 3, but he left that one short. Moore cross court to Dickerson. Picked off by Bowser, and he's fouled on the way up by Darren Moore.
Not a bad foul, but you got to be careful with the ball, Bullis. Limit the turnovers. You already had 13 at the end of the half. So adding on to that is not a good look.
Bowser will shoot 2 for the 6'6" senior forward. Saw him take a shot to the head at the beginning, but he's seemingly shaking that off. Carries some Division I offers. Furman, Charleston, Norfolk State, ODU, among others. And he hits both his free throws. Now, Mike Jones was saying that his brother currently plays at Furman, who's 6'11".
Wow.
So the 6'6" Bowser, a guy might have some more growing to do, and he intercepts the tip ball right there. Meeks behind his back, moving quickly, stops short, flips it up, and it bounces in. The shooter's touch in favor of Ace Meeks. And that's going to be another Bullis timeout. Bruce Kelly just trying to get his guys into this game as much as he can. They're now down by 20 points, 50-30 lead for the Stags with 12:35 to go. They've been trying to pretty much end the heart and spirit of this game for the past couple possessions, trying to flip the ball up and get some alley-oop dunks, but haven't come up with anything just yet.
No, nothing just yet. They're looking for that one basket that could force Coach Kelly to call a timeout and then, not end the game, but mostly break the spirit like you mentioned.
Yeah, so when you're trying to get a championship in your home gym, you got to try to put some icing on the cake.
As Moore flips it up at the top of the rim. Both him and Dickerson the lone scorers in the second half for Bullis. They have yet to break 10 second half points. They've scored 8 so far. 58-36, 18-point Stags advantage, or pardon me, 22-point. My math is not mathing there. Missed three-pointer, and the rebound to Richards. Dickerson fading towards half court. Finds Richards. McKnight almost got the steal there. Richards loses it. Skipworth is there. Able to body out Abass, but can't convert on the layup. So it's McKnight to Sebastian in the corner. Passes it up. McKnight guarding with the left hand. A turnover again. Moore streaking the other way. Finishing with the right. What a finish from Darren Moore, taking it 180 behind the head.
Good finish.
Dickerson pokes it away from Abass, but I think we have to talk about how Moore has been finishing these basketballs at the rim. He's getting that wrist movement and getting the backspin on the ball, and has had some fantastic finishes on his layups.
He's been following the book of Kyrie.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Finding the angle on those backwards, doing a great job of finishing at the rim.
And here I thought Jellyfan was dead.
Yeah, you would think. One would think. One would think.
Never
One would
dead.
think.
Jelly fam never dead. Shout out Nas Reed. Shout out Nas Reed.
Big Nas up in Minnesota now, getting his big buckets in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
20-point lead for the Stags, 58-38. 7:45 to go in this game. DeMatha looking to take home that third trophy in 4 years. Dickerson off to the left. Abass tracks down the rebound. McKnight looking to move quickly. Crosses up. Pull-up jumper. Off the back iron. No good. Wallace, a tough finish, and gets it to fall.
Yes, Wallace have been doing a great job of getting to the rim and finishing through contact all game.
11 points for Jacob Wallace. 22-point lead for the Stags. And a very, very quiet Bullis bench, as all they can do is watch as there's another turnover. Bowser from behind the head, and Moore able to break it up from behind. Again, we haven't seen that highlight reel dunk yet from DeMatha.
I think Mr. Thomas gave it to us a little too early, the highlight reel for the dunk. That was like 4 back-to-back. I was like, man, brother.
Did y'all good for
Might have used up all the air.
Yeah.
Wallace up top to Bowser. Meeks trying to move quickly. Swings it along the baseline. McKnight, Bowser, open, 3. No. Skipworth with the board. Dickerson recovers inside. He's fouled and in some pain.
Hopefully just a cramp.
Trying to stretch out his left leg. Or his right leg, excuse me. And the way he's reacting, his teammates are reacting, you want to think it's probably just a cramp.
Yeah, that's what you hope.
And he will attempt to walk it off. So he slowly puts more weight back on that right leg. And I think Bruce Kelly was looking over at Moore for a sign as to whether or not Dickerson needed to be taken out, but he misses the free throw. Still trying to stretch out that right leg.
Hopefully a good little break might help him get some rest and try to figure out if he's ready to go or not for to finish this game off.
Dickerson with a team-high 13 and now 14, and now he will make his way over to the bench. Warren Ford back in. (60-39), 21-point lead for DeMatha. They built up that 20-point lead and have never really looked back.
No, they haven't.
Bullis has gotten within 18, but it's been over under within 2 of 20, and Meeks inside.
Yes, Meeks with the great take with the left amongst the trees. He's really having a great second half. 19
points for Ace Meeks, teetering on that 20-point margin. Again, 28 in the win over John Carroll. DeMatha now their largest lead, 23, and a travel called on Skipworth. Nothing is really going Bullis' way. It's Thomas and Nigel Cross are back in. I just want to give a shout out to our amazing team that helps us here, of course, us in the booth, but Chris Bryan on production, Skylar Nelson, our sideline reporter, myself, Noah Schubert, alongside Isaac Harris and Branson Brooks, bringing you this championship game with DeMatha handily in the lead as Jamal McKnight fouled. They're up 62-39 with 5:54 to play.
Now, you got 5 minutes and 54 seconds to finish out this game. The question is for Bullis, do you finish with pride or you try to do the impossible? I'm going to try to do the impossible because I'm stubborn. But if I'm Bullis, I can see them giving up too. So that's a question they got to all ask themselves, the 5 of them right now. Hey, we're here to do the impossible or we're going to try to finish with pride?
Well, at least attempt it. At least attempt.
As Jamal McKnight misses his second free throw, and his first free throw were his first points of the game. Right. He was integral in the win over Tenley, and then in the win over John Carroll, he had 3 points and 2 assists. And now in this game, he scores his first point of the entire game from the free throw line. So he's really taken a step back, especially with Meeks coming in, to the picture. But he's playing his role. And as a sophomore, he was a private school all-star this season. And now with Meeks, as you mentioned, the focal point, the axle of this team, McKnight has taken a step back gracefully.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think McKnight is probably taking that step back and looking at Meeks as like, all right, he's the vet that I need to follow and think like, all right, how is he moving? How is he playing? Because if you notice, like, even since last night, they almost dribble the same.
Heeman for 3, in and out. And McKnight getting into space, grabbing that rebound, finds Meeks, triggers a three-pointer, short. Skipworth ends up with the board. Bullis will work it cross half court. Flip Moore can finish with the right and does.
Yes, and to speak on McKnight more, I feel like he has had 2 steals this game, and those 2 steals have translated to some good outlet passes. So as Noah mentioned, he is playing his role at a great clip.
15 points for Darren Moore. Leads Bullis in points. Runner no good. Other way, 22-point Stags advantage. Moore to the corner. Heeman looking for room. Moore 15 to shoot. Moore crosses up. Down low, nice find, and the basket is good for Bullis. Oren Ford, his second make of the game.
Hopefully they can get some more. Oh.
Three-pointer, no for Bowser. Skipworth to Ford, and he lays it in cleanly, and Mike Jones wants a timeout. Even though DeMatha are up by 18, he doesn't like how they're letting Bullis hit these shots.
Yeah, and this is no disrespect to Oren. I think Oren's been playing well this entire game.
Absolutely.
But the layups he's been getting and the way DeMatha has been playing defense this entire summer league, that shouldn't happen. Those open layups, you got to make Oren earn those layups. Make him go through the contact, something. Give him something to sell. And that's, like I said, that's no disrespect because he was at the right place at the right time. He caught them sleeping. But that's why I think Coach Jones is like, no, we need to talk. Hold on now.
And this DeMatha staff and Mike Jones so meticulous in prepping these players because DeMatha, it's a big name. And when you try to compete in the WCAC, you can't afford to set a bad tone in the summer league. Every moment has to be a coachable moment when you have that DeMatha Stags logo and name on your chest.
Yeah, so I think DeMatha also wanted to call his timeout just to make sure, even with this big lead, they want to make sure they keep the same principles, the same thing that got them this lead and to the championship so they can go into the offseason feeling good about themselves.
And you want to play Stags basketball. Well, the Stag basketball so far is working. They're up by 18. They've extended their lead by 10 at this point into the second half and are on their way to securing their third Summer League championship in the past four straight appearances, I should say, and just a perennial team playing in this championship game. They're the hosts of the Summer League, the hosts of DMV Live, and to get to play basically in front of a home crowd, it's fantastic opportunity for DeMatha, and they're really taking it well and have played extremely well against Bullis, although there's a steal from Heeman on the other way, and he tried to throw it down with the right. But was that Jacob Wallace who came through and stuffed him at the rim?
Did Jacob Wallace get up there, or did Heeman miss the dunk? Because Jacob Wallace got up there, that was some good vert.
I think Wallace showed off that defensive back vert.
All I'm saying is he better be a West Virginia Mountaineer by the end of it by playing that type of defense. We need him. I need him.
More to the corner. Heeman, three-pointer on the way, bounces out. Christian Proctor grabs the rebound. He checked in after the timeout. So did Nigel Cross. Wallace, Skipworth's on him. Bounce pass to McKnight. McKnight checks. High screen from Proctor, who rolls to the basket. McKnight sees the lane to the corner. Three-pointer coming and out. Ball's up in the air. Bass grabs it away from his own teammate McKnight. Puts it off the glass. No, and what a putback and one for Wallace, who's been showing off the jump. Insanity this game.
Future West Virginia starting CB and coming off the bench six-man guard.
Someone's trying to manifest something into existence.
I'm trying to. I'm trying. I see it. I can see it. I can see it. We need that.
Wallace went for that putback right there. Almost like I didn't realize it was him. How
high
he
he
got
guys.
right there. How high he got right there.
And he converts a three-point play for good measure. 14 points for Jacob Wallace. He joins Sebastian, Thomas, and Meeks as Stags in double figures. They're back up more than 20, 66-45, 2:35 to go. Swing over, Skipworth will try his hand at a three, and that one is in. And you have to ask yourself, where was that for all game for Skipworth? That's his first made shot.
Yeah, I just realized that is his first made shot. I'm like, hey, man.
Skipworth coming off 14 games last season would have needed some of that input.
Down low, Proctor. And they're going to call a foul against Skipworth. Christian Proctor, 6'6" sophomore forward. Averaged 3 points a game in the regular season and 7 games played. Sebastian back in for Nigel Cross. And Bruce Kelly's going to call another timeout with 2:11 to go. And do you think this is just a pep talk, or do you think we might see a little bit of a rotation in the Bullis players on the court?
I think it's a pep talk for now. And then it might turn into a rotation. There's 2 minutes left. And DeMatha's in the bonus from what I'm looking at the score. They're
Seven
in
fouls, yes.
7 fouls. They're in the bonus. So strategically, yes, a little bit of a pep. I'm looking more of a pep talk. Just not do anything too crazy. Finish this game strong. Let's try to get a stop and a score, and maybe we got something going.
2:11 to go. 66-48, 18-point advantage for the Stags. The trophy for the Capital Hoops Summer League is sitting at the table at center court, along with the trophy for the most valuable player of the postseason. And honestly, I'm not sure who's going to get it for DeMatha.
I don't know.
Maybe Jacob Wallace might be my front runner for this, although the way that Meeks has come through and dominant in the semifinals with those 28 points and now 19 here in the championship game, he might have come away with it as Jaden Fort did at the buzzer last year for Tenley.
Now, the question is, do you give it to the guy throughout the whole tournament or only the Final Four? That's the big question.
I mean, it is a postseason award, but the way that Meeks has played when it mattered most, although that Tenley game was very close and McKnight hit that buzzer beater, honestly, it's a coin toss here. As
they split it. They go to the same school. They split it and just put it in the trophy case.
As Proctor hits both free throws, and he's got 2 points. 68-48, Stags in the lead by 20 as we reach 2 minutes to play. DeMatha on their way to another Summer League crown over the Bullis Bulldogs, who just falling short here in the championship game, missing Adrian Stevens, missing Eric Ryba as Heeman hits the jumper.
We did that from Heeman, too.
And you really can't overstate the loss of your top 2 players, Stevens and Ryba. And Bullis, the fact that they got this far, and they play that semifinals without Stevens, without Ryba, and in the championship game, they've done all they can, but DeMatha just played at too high of an intensity, and that defense, so many turnovers from Bullis.
Turnovers were killer. Turnovers were killing in this game, and it showed.
Turnovers, them not really being able to succeed on the boards. They struggled on the defensive boards all game. We'll let DeMatha get easy points.
And now we will see a full ride of substitutions coming from DeMatha, as Mike Jones will put the bench on the floor. And on the court, number 24, Michael Driscoll. Donovan Wright is there. Jalen Ortiz-Olfus is there. And so is number 25, Jaden Smothers. Proctor staying on the court for DeMatha. Seaman 5 seconds down low. Skipworth, it's out of bounds. And I think that just bookends how this game has been going for Bullis.
Pretty much.
As it smiles and laughs on the bench for the Stags. Solemn faces for Bullis. As they had it early. They had a lead early in the first half, and then slowly but surely here come DeMatha. They are up by 8 at halftime, and now this game has just exploded in favor of the Stags. As there's a steal by Skipworth other way, and Dickerson is fouled by Driscoll. And looking to try to find a silver lining for Bullis here. And I think it comes in the form of getting that team chemistry without Stevens, without Ryba. As you mentioned, it just kind of looks like that they're practicing as they would without the 2 in the lineup. Isaac.
I think, like I said yesterday, it's like they're practicing without him. This is good. It's good preparation just in case, like, hey, he can't be there. He can't be at a game. He's injured or something happens. They know what they got to do. They know what the game plan's going to have to be. Now, when he does come back, I feel like these teams are going to meet again at the Maryland State Private School Championship again. So this is not the last time we're going to see DeMatha and Bullis matched up.
It was a good game to see how Angelo Dickinson could handle the pressure with everything on him. He obviously could have had a better game, but he still was able to remain aggressive throughout the whole game. So this will be something they'll be able to take into the regular season and be able to build from.
Inbound to the corner, 3-pointer on the way. Heeman with the rebound and gives it to Dickerson. Shot clock is turned off. So we're reaching the finale of this game, and Dickerson blocked and fouled. He's taken a beating this game. You saw him walking gingerly on that right leg after he was fouled, and it's been very physical game, if anything, as we've seen players hit the deck. Players have come up limping, grabbing their heads.
All it says to me is that they left it out on the floor.
As Bullis will try for one final push before this final buzzer will sound. Heyman in the corner flips over to Dickerson with 5. Dickerson will launch up the three-pointer, and it's no good. Rebound. Richards puts it back up and in, but it will not be enough as the DeMatha Stags retake the throne. 68-52. The Stags, your 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League champions, over Bullis, and they will keep the trophy in Hyattsville, Maryland in 2024.
Yeah, it's going to stay here for the first time in a year. Obviously, they had last year was a bad taste in their mouth as a school, as a team, and it showed this year throughout the whole summer league that we don't want that bad taste in their mouth ever again. They were playing with the chip on the shoulder, like I was telling, what Coach Jones was telling. He's like, yeah, no, it's finally starting to click. The culture's now. It takes 3 or 4 years to build a culture, and now they're in year 4. It's to finally show, like, hey, this is what DeMatha basketball is. Not all the way there yet, but they're on their way back, and this is the prime example of showing it.
Yes, and this is probably why Meeks made sure to make it back for these last couple of tournament games. He wanted to make sure that they could get this dub in this championship and really just cement their name again in this Capital Hoop Summer League. It's obviously a great tournament that has a lot of history in the DMV. For them to get their names back on the top of it really shows where DeMatha basketball is heading.
Ace Meeks leading the Stags with 19 points. Charles Thomas with 16. It was Jacob Wallace with 14 and Cade Sebastian with 10 for Bullis, led by Darren Moore's 15 and Angelo Dickerson's 14. But Christopher Richards, he had 8 points in the first half, and that basket right before the game ended, that was his only points in the second half. He finished with 10, but it was really just the depth and the sheer tenacity and the defense of DeMatha suffocating Bullis the entire game.
That's so true. That suffocation, that defense, and if they keep playing like this throughout the regular season and in actual, like during the actual season, we are going to have an issue for who's going to be the WCAC champion, because this conference is deeper than ever. Last year, obviously, Paul VI steamrolled through everybody because they went 12 deep.
Yeah.
They went 12 deep, and their best player, arguably their best player, the best front court player, Patrick Nwamba, who I know who you're a fan of now since he's going to be a Duke Blue Devil, didn't even make it. Didn't even play half the year, and yet they still beat everybody by 25. Yeah. This DeMatha team playing like this can possibly give teams like the Paul VIs, the St. John's, the Bishop O'Connells that reloaded, and the Gonzagas a run for their money.
Yes, and DeMatha, when they can come out there with 3 ball-hawking guards at one time with McKnight, Meeks, and Wallace, it really is a different look that the other teams in the DMV do not have. That's why they were able to make a big impact when they put that press on them. So the depth that DeMatha have will serve them justice for this upcoming season, and it will be a thing to see.
As DeMatha, they forced 22 Bullis turnovers, scored 22 points off of those turnovers, and they won the battle in the paint like they did in the first half, finished up 40-18 in points in the paint, and that battle down low, that rebound battle, as we will pass it over in a moment, our audio over to Mark Stern, the owner and founder of Capital Hoops, as he's going to present the Stags with the trophy, and also our postseason MVP, who, again, we've been wondering who it's going to be, and we'll have our questions answered here. My money, it's going to be between Wallace and Meeks.
There we go. I like that. Give the Wallace. I love Meeks, but you got to give the Wallace. He was here the whole playoffs.
Yeah, he was here the whole playoffs, whole regular season in the Capital Hoop Summer League. I feel like you should give it to the Wallace just for kind of like team morale and things of that sort.
And Jacob Wallace does come out with that postseason MVP trophy. 10 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists in the win over John Carroll, and he had 14 points in this victory, along with 5 rebounds. Shot 6 of 8 from the field, 2 assists, a block, and 6 steals in this championship game. 6 steals for Jacob Wallace.
Yeah, no, like I said, it should be him. Like he's played outstanding during the postseason. He's played outstanding during the regular season. he showed that, like, hey, he'll step up and play that role.
Team walking over to that table at center court, and the trophy will come home. It'll stay at DeMatha High School here in Hyattsville, and they give it to Charles Thomas to lift it up, and he does. Elation for the Stags as they take home their third championship in 4 years, their fourth straight Summer League championship appearance. We'll call it a dynasty at this point. 3 and 4, that's a dynasty.
Is it?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Is it?
100%.
Is it?
Golden State Warriors had 3 and 4 years. We'll call that a dynasty too.
Well, for that, in that regard, I'm a professional hater when it comes to that, when we're talking the NBA. But for this, yes, we can say it's a dynasty. The trophy gets to stay in Madison Street, gets to stay in, historic Hyattsville for another year. Now, we'll see what happens if it can stay that way.
Yes, it's always sweeter when you can do it at home. And for them to continue the dynasty that's been long running for DeMatha, I know it feels even greater.
Well, we will leave it at that. The DeMatha Stags are your 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League champions. They take this final game 68-52. 50 teams has turned to 1. It's the Stags lifting the trophy this year. For all of us at SASN TV, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Capital Hoop Summer League. Chris Bryant on production, Skylar Nelson, our reporter, Isaac Harris, and Branson Brooks to my right for this championship game. I've been Noah Schubert saying so long to DeMatha, the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League champions, and they did it right here where you found the entire Summer League on SASN TV.
DMV Hoop Session presents the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League, showcasing the best high school basketball in the DMV.